There's those blocks. There. Go ahead and knock it this way some. Till it's even at the end there. About right. Good overlap here on this one. Something's not square, but whatever. Okay, so what we do now, go grab one of those chalk lines. Okay, so we want to make sure that these sheets of plywood are on here straight. You always want to make sure that you don't lay one sheet of plywood, nail it down, and then find out that it's cockeyed and your later sheets of plywood are going to be all out of whack. So we've ran a line it's not a centered line, but it's a line even from end to end. And so right now we're laying these sheets of plywood about 7.5 inches off that line, so we know that they're going straight. But we end up with about 1/4 of an inch overlap here. So I think what we're going to do is move the plywood over to 7 1/4 off of that line, and then we'll see if maybe we line up on this rim joist better. Okay, so we moved it over to 7 1/4, so we moved 1/4 of an inch. Now we're nice and even right here, except that down there you can see that the rim joist has gone out a little ways, about 3/8 of an inch. That's because of that plate that we put on that 6x6 down there. So I'm thinking that's what's pushing that out. I think that I would just as soon have it be even here in the middle and have it off a little bit there. What do you think, Jonah?
I don't know.
Maybe it's better to have it covering up the whole rim joist, even if it's lipping over a 1/4 inch up here. I guess that's not, yeah, okay, we'll do that. So there we go. We went 7.5 inches off that line, which gives us a little about 1/4 of an inch overhang here. And down at that end, it's not quite as big of a gap. And we've got a couple screws in here to hold it in place. We've got about an 1/8 inch space here for expansion. I think it's looking good. But yeah, anytime you're laying plywood, that's one of the big things you got to look out for, is that you get the plywood going straight. And I've seen too many, over the years in our business, too many guys come out and lay one sheet of plywood and put 1,000 nails in it, and then they realize that, oh, we're going to be way off at that end. So then they have to come back with a nail puller and pull 1,000 nails out. Another thing is that we could be putting glue down. We could be gluing these down. I don't think that that's really important, and one reason I really don't want to do that is if we ever have to take this thing apart, I don't want to have to pull up plywood that's been glued down. We can always unscrew the screws, or, well, I guess we're going to put, yeah, we're going to do screws. You can always undo the screws or cut the screws, but if it's all glued, you know, you're ripping plywood up. So I'm not going to glue it down. Plywood is down. Now we just have to screw it off. And then my friend Eric has got some urethane coating that we're going to get from him, and we'll be able to coat this so that it'll stay dry, won't get wet in the rain. Gonna have a rainy weekend, I guess, so I'll make sure we have plenty of protection on there so this doesn't get all wet. And we put some blocking in there, salt blocking in about 4 feet, just in case we needed to add an extra post. But these are 3-inch screws, and this is made for 2.5-inch screws, so it takes a little bit of effort. So they go in, they stick up about 1/4 of an inch, and so you got to take the other drill and finish drilling them in. This is the end of the day today, putting plywood down. We've got it all down and screwed down, nice and tight. We glued the tongue together, so that would be nice and wouldn't be squeaky. Beyond that, I'm gonna go work on the sawmill and see about making some 4x6 beams for up here. Well, I'm inside the sawmill shed, the old sawmill shed, and I just rolled this big log onto the mill, but now I have to move it down toward the saw head about 3 feet. But I'm tired. It's about 4:30 in the afternoon. It's sunny out, it's warm, I'm tired. I don't think I'm going to take the time to do that right now. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. But there's the sawmill shed over there, the new one, and we're getting ready to, we got plywood down on the floor, posts are up and plumb, so we're getting ready to put up some beams. But I've got to cut some on this log right here. I've got to cut some 4x8s. No, 6x8s. Something like that, I don't know. Here we are again. We have a log on the sawmill bed and it is too long, way down there. That means that we have to move this end from here to about here. So I'm going to use the chain hoist, wrap a choker around it, and we'll drag it down this way. So there we go, we've got that hooked up, and that should be just about enough to get it down there. We'll see. Move this down. So there we go, we've got pretty nice looking cut there. Not too many knots up here. Down at this end there's a few knots. So what we're doing here is we're going to go down, our pith is 4 inches from that bottom. So if we go down another 2 inches, then that's going to give us 8 inches of wood with the pith in the middle. And then we can turn this up on its side. We'll cut a 6-inch piece out of here, 2-inch piece out of the pith, and then another 6-inch piece over here. So take a look at this wood. Man, I tell you, it's pretty nice looking wood. The knots are not very big. Okay, so we've got a couple of 6x8 beams and another one over there, which I don't think we'll use right away, but these beams are going to go up on the back post there across the back. Time for lunch though now. 20 to 1. So this is the coating that we're going to use for the plywood on the sawmill shed. It's called 5500 Pacific Polymers. We used to use a lot of this in our waterproofing business, and you can see it's about 3 years out of date, which means there's probably a lot of lumps in there. But if we add in some thinner, we should probably be able to get some use out of this. So there we go. 40 7/8. Okay, so we need to spread it. We need to go a 1/2 inch that way. We'll see if we can't bump it over. Still?